Hello y'all. This video was originally just going to be a quick introductory guide to striding, but well, that didn't work out. I was really struggling to talk about just striding without also covering all of the things that go into it. Explaining feel is really difficult, at least for me, so I wanted to get some examples and hard data for y'all. I've spent a good chunk of time gathering information on my own and bombarding Jessie with questions, which she has been kind enough to answer for me. Hopefully all of this together will paint a decently clear picture of how the riding mechanics work and how to apply that knowledge to striding and jumping. Most of the explanations are going to be done in a kind of quick-fire way. I will be throwing out some numbers, and while they can be useful additions to explanations, don't get too caught up in them. Understanding how things work in general is far more pertinent than, say, knowing exactly how much ground is covered at a very specific speed on a very specific horse. Remember that this game is still in the very early stages, and many of these figures could potentially be adjusted or changed entirely. The game already does a really good job of explaining what each skill does, so I'm just going to put that information on screen for y'all. I've also included a chart that I've made with extra information pertaining to the jumping skill. The strength skill will be coming up again in this video because the way it works might not be how you'd expect. Temperaments have quite the impact on gameplay, and horses fall into one of three generalized categories: calm, balanced, or forward. Two of these personalities have a bonus, and these bonuses intensify the further a horse gets away from zero. For example, a forward horse will continue to gain slightly more speed the closer they get to 50, and a calm horse will gain slightly more stamina regeneration the closer they get to -50. The closer a horse is to zero, the less often they will try to change speed on their own, with the average attempt at zero being around 32 seconds, and the average attempt at -50 or 50 being around 14 seconds. So, if you prefer a horse with less opinions about your travel speed, you want a horse with as close to a zero in temperament as possible. When a horse attempts to change their speed on their own, you have a short window of time to react to it. You can tell which transition your horse is going to attempt by listening and watching for their cue. If you do not react to it, a forward horse will speed up, calm horse will slow down, and a balanced horse will either speed up or slow down towards the center of working canter. I find that the easiest way to maintain speed during these attempts is to either tap S and then W quickly or W and then S quickly. If you issue the cue to swap leads in the air over an obstacle, the horse will swap immediately after the jump animation finishes. If you're quick, you can do a swap right before takeoff, assuming you're able to land the cue and then jump before the jump window closes. This will put you on the new lead in the air before you even landed. This can be tricky, however, so don't agonize if you can't do this right away. It's just an option if you choose to use it. In addition to their cosmetic divergencies, the Irish Draught and Dutch Warmblood also have a few gameplay distinctions. While both breeds use the same animations, the Irish Drauht's model is scaled a bit larger than the Warmblood's. As such, the Draught stride is a bit longer, his jump is a little higher and extends a bit further, and the Warmblood, being smaller, has a tighter turning radius. These distinctions can be a little difficult to notice at first, but they become very obvious the more you play. I'm going to show one example of these differences on the advanced course, and then we can move on to the next topic. Both of these horses are the same in every way, all that is different is their breed. For this section of the course, I will be accelerating through the triple combination and then making a run for obstacle 11 in 3 strides. First, the Draught. I steadily accelerate through the triple. I urge him into a gallop after landing off 10, and he easily covers the distance to obstacle 11 and jumps it no problem. Now for the Warmblood, I urge him into a gallop over obstacle 9 so that I can take off really close to 10. This lets me land close enough to 11 to make the run in 3 strides, and golly gee, is it close. Look at that stamina. From a technical perspective, this method was much more difficult to pull off with the Warmblood, whereas the Draught had a really chill ride through this section of the course. This was still very doable on the Warmblood, but it would have been much simpler to just add in an extra stride between 10 and 11. Anyway, my point is that you cannot ride the Irish Draught and Dutch Warmblood in exactly the same way and expect the same result. Treat them as the individuals that they are. I'll only be covering the working canter in this section because the stride might be getting some adjustments in the near future, so I don't want to go too crazy, but the information here can be adapted at all speeds. I'll do a more thorough breakdown when things are more set in stone, so just consider this as like an introduction of sorts. The stride can be broken into 2 parts, the jump window and downtime. The jump window is always about 44% of the stride animation, with downtime encompassing the other 56%. Stride animation speed is controlled by strength and temperament. A more forward and stronger horse will have a faster movement animation than a horse that is calmer and weaker. You can see that there is quite a difference between the horses being shown here, and your horse will fall somewhere between these 2 extremes. Don't get too caught up in the numbers, I just wanted to share them to further push the necessity of treating each horse as an individual. Unless you've somehow got twins, every horse will handle a bit differently. Stride length is affected by the breed of horse you're riding and the speed at which you are traveling. Short working and long canter, as well as the gallop, all cover varying distances. Strength and temperament have absolutely no effect on your horse's stride length, as they simply increase the animation speed. Jump travel distance is based upon the breed of horse you are riding and the speed shown on the interface. As stated earlier, our horses do not respond instantly to speed changes on the flat. However, if you go into a jump while doing a speed adjustment, the horse will instead immediately transition to this requested speed for the jump animation. Thus, if you are rapidly slowing or speeding up, you will get to see the requested change instantly, and this can be quite jarring if you aren't expecting it or don't know what is happening. It is, however, incredibly beneficial when used at the right time. This is why you'll see a quick speed change when you jump at the trot. Jumping at the trot shifts the horse into a working canter immediately, and because of this, the jump animation uses that working canter speed. Horses cannot change their speed during the jumping animation. You can request a speed change mid-air, but it will not take effect until the jump animation completes fully. Now that I've discussed how everything works, it's time to put that knowledge into practice. I recommend beginning with one of these grid exercises. I've built several grids suited for each breed and obstacle height. These grids are intended to be ridden initially at the working canter, but once you're comfortable, you can of course mix it up. The distances span all the way from 1 to 7 strides in between each jump at the working canter, and this grid should help you get more comfortable with seeing different distances. Try to jump when your horse's front hooves are in between the green ground poles, as this is generally a safe takeoff point. If you approach at the trot, you'll be put at the perfect working canter speed for the second obstacle in the grid, and this can be useful if you're struggling with landing the timing on initial approaches. As you go through each line, try to visualize the strides leading up to the next jump. Once you can get through each of these lines comfortably and understand where the jump window is, I recommend trying to either add or remove strides by speeding up or slowing down. On an actual course, it'll be very rare for every line to flow perfectly. Sometimes you hit a jump too short, sometimes too long, perhaps you've cut a few corners, or maybe that line just isn't set up for your horse's stride. The further away you can see an issue with your approach and fix it, the better. And do keep in mind that the fewer strides there are in between obstacles, the less room there is for error. I've included another simple grid that just has varied distances on each line. The number to the right of each jump is its distance in strides as related to the previous jump in the line, and that can be used as a reference while learning. I've created a few other routines previously that I will also include, but I think that assorted exercises is probably the best one for general practice. Okay guys, I think that is it for now. I hope I have provided you with at least some useful information. If you have any questions or input or think I missed something, feel free to contact me on Discord or leave a comment. Alrighty, I will see y'all next time. Toodles.